All right, so this will be on, I guess, a little bit of shame, some New Year's resolutions, and getting going with working out. So I'll give you a quick story. So it is 2002, maybe the summer, I don't know. It was definitely warm out, that's for sure. So maybe spring, something like that. Anyway, Twin Towers fell the year before. There's no there's no video, there's no YouTube, there's no cell phones, there's none of this stuff. Anyway, so here is how things go. I happen to be a stockbroker in New York. Now, I was drinking too much, I was eating too much lunch, and I had become what you would call like fat skinny. So I'm soft. I'm probably like 185 pounds, easily a 34 or 35-inch waist, just soft. And I'm only 5'8", so it's not ideal situation to be 185, completely soft, no muscle, and got nothing going for me. So at the time, I have a buddy, and his name is Sean. This is a real name. So if you're watching this, Sean, you come across that, kudos to you. Anyway, so and this is on shame, right? So here's what happens. So I'm soft. I'm in my 35 waist dress pants, my dress shirts, hanging out with Sean. We're going out to the TGI Fridays. And I'm eating, we're hanging out, we're talking. And, he's the guy's in shape. Like the guy runs, he lifts, he does all this stuff. And we've known each other since high school. So he's like, hey, like, what's going on? Like, you're soft. Like, we end up hanging out. We go back to his house. His brothers are there, his parents. He's like, hey, like, come in. So I go into the bathroom with him and get on the scale. So he looks at the scale. I look at the scale. We look at each other. He's like, hey, man, you're fat. He's like, you're soft. Like, what are you doing? What are you eating? Like, are you working out? Like, you want to go for a run? Like you gotta do something. And I was like, oh man, like that. When your friend tells you something like that, it can crush you, or it could kind of pick you up, or it could motivate you. So in this instance, I was I took it great motivation, right? I'm 22 years old, so as a 22-year-old, a situation like that can either kick you hard where you don't want to be kicked, or get you going. So we had that conversation. So seeds are planted, right? Literally the next day, calls me up. He's like, "Hey, let's hang out. Me and Brian, some other guys, we're gonna go. We're gonna get dinner, whatever, later on. Why don't I pick you up from work?" So here's what happens. He picks me up, and he's like, "Hey, man, guess what? I'm signing you up for the gym today." So he takes me to the Dolphin Fitness Club on Long Island, right? Owned by, this like old bodybuilder dudes there and stuff. Like not even old, like they're old when I was there. When I was 22, these guys were in their 40s and like ginormous. So it's like a real guy's gym, right? There's like a part in the front with the machines and like the ellipticals and like all that stuff. And then the back is just benches and racks and weights. Anyway, so we go there, sign up, hand him my credit card, we get going. And then I don't have to work out that day. So, good for me. He's like, hey, I don't have clothes, I don't have anything. So we're signed up. So I am fully signed up. The next day, we go out to dinner that night. The next day happens. He's like, hey, I'm going to come with you. I'm going to help you out a little bit just on your first day. I'm like, all right, cool. So we go there, we do bench, and I'm like, I'm weak. I don't even have proper shoes. I don't have running sneakers. I'm in my t-shirt that was underneath my dress shirt. I have a dress watch on. I don't even have a proper watch, which doesn't matter. I have dress socks on. I have quote unquote walking shoes. Like what is like I get laughed at. He's like, "What do you mean you don't have running shoes? You have walking?" I'm like, "They're walking shoes." He's like, "You gotta get a pair of running shoes." I'm trying to do the treadmill. I'm sweating. I'm not making it. I'm like out of breath. I'm winded. But here's what happens. The next day I go back again. The next day I go back again. The next day I go back again. And I don't have anybody to work out with, right? So I'm there completely alone, dressed funnily at 22 years old, and I can't even get under. I'm nervous about getting under the bar, right? Because I don't want the 45-pound bar with no weight on it is embarrassing, right? I wouldn't want to do that. So I pick up the dumbbells and I just start working with the dumbbells. So I work up from 20s to 25s to 35s to 45s to 50s, and it takes me months, and that's just how it goes. And I'm doing my sit-ups and I'm working on my pull-ups and my rows and all of these tiny little things. And at the time when I first started working out, it hurt so badly. I like it was hard to sleep. Like sleeping those nights and those first couple weeks was hard. Laughing was hard, but you start feeling pretty good because you're going. You're going every day after work. You're committed to going. And then because other guys have seen me going, some of the older guys, they start giving me tips. They start spotting me. They start showing me different exercises. And then you get some confidence under your belt. And then everything just changed like that. Discipline of working out changes everything because it trickles into, hey, I just busted my ass at the gym. I don't want to eat junk. I just worked really hard at the gym. I don't want to drink too much because I have to go wake up and do it all over again the next day. So that discipline starts leaking out to everything else you do. It rolls over it. So because you have this discipline, you're now implementing it in other parts of your life. So then, work gets better. Your mental clarity gets better. What you eat gets better. All because of that one discipline that you started just going to the gym. So that was just a quick little short on shame. So thanks to that guy. So if you could shame your own self, or most guys don't have friends that want to shame them these days. So if you happen to get on that scale and you are weak and you can't do push-ups and you can't do sit-ups, you can't go lift, you can't go to the gym, and you are hunched over your phone with your letter C posture in front of your computer, and you're just not doing anything every single day, and not taking care of yourself, and you're drinking too much and you're eating like junk and you're watching too much YouTube or whatever you're watching, like here's a healthy dose of shame from me, thanks to Sean, that I will pass to you. Get it together. Get to the gym. You have to start somewhere. I was lucky enough to have a friend that said, "Hey, you got a problem. You get on the scale. Let's see what's going on. I'm going to shame you and make sure you get your life together." That doesn't happen very often. That actually probably hardly ever happens, and it probably happens less now. But I'll shame you. If you're soft, if you need to get going, if you're going to make a New Year's resolution, don't be like one of these fools that like tells everybody about it and like, "Oh, I'm going to make a New Year's resolution and I'm going to start going to the gym and be more healthy." Like that stuff is so dumb. Here's what you do. You see this, you examine yourself, you know that it's not going well, okay? And it doesn't, I mean, you could look at your own self with your shirt off, like you know that, man. So go do a quick like self shame. Know that other people are shaming you, even if they're not saying it to you, like they're thinking it inside their minds, like, just my friend, he's pretty weak. But anyway, know that that's happening and know that you can do something about it. And it's so easy, like to get to the gym. There's nothing even intimidating about it. Like, you know what, gym rats, like these big muscle heads, like those are some of the nicest guys you could ever get. Like they're so nice and they're so helpful when things are when you're struggling. And if they see you going every single day, those guys are always the ones that help. Always the ones that correct your posture, correct your how you're lifting, help you with whatever. Like if your posture is right with deadlifts or wrong or dumbbells, whatever it might be, they show you everything. So get it together, get going, get to the gym. Some of these gyms are so cheap, it's ridiculous. Don't wait 2 years to start. Don't tell anybody. Start today. Shut this thing off. Don't bring your phone to the gym and just get going. That's all I have to say. So there's your shame. So you could self shame. I'll shame you. You could know that you were shamed by everybody else. Start making some changes. It'll leak over to everything in the rest of your life. Eating, working, whatever. Your girlfriends, your wife, all that stuff. It just encircles everything. And if you have kids, like same thing with having kids. And take it from me, I've been in the gym nonstop for 23 years. The best thing you can do for de-stressing, mental clarity, staying strong, taking care of your family, discipline is get to the gym.